Hi, David Singletary here at DJS Digital, and finally Vision 9 or version 9 of SOS Inventory is available. So we're going to take a look at it today and look at some of the features and functionality. It doesn't have as many new features as I would have liked to have seen, but it's definitely faster, it looks nicer, and they made some improvements along the way. So let's take a look at it and see what you think.
Looking at the new interface itself, you'll immediately notice a more modern, streamlined look and feel. The colors and the icons, everything has been rebuilt to align with more modern software standards. This isn't just about looks, it's also about speed as they've sped up the system 3 times faster with pages loading very quickly and lists filtering across the board. They maintain a familiar look with the taskbar at the top and the operations menu along the left. However, you'll see a whole new color scheme and a new logo in the left-hand corner. Everything has a slight rearrangement, offering you more information and easier access to other resources. They've carefully looked at colors and fonts to enhance readability, especially considering customers who may have eye impairments. Let's dive into the specifics, starting with the taskbar. So you have the company menu now is at the top here. If you need your account information, all you have to do is drop down. You'll see that there. You can also update users, and if you have multiple logins, you could change companies there as well. Let's take a look at the global search. Global search has been enhanced. So when I click here, not only can I search across all the platform, you also have the most recent transactions here. So you can see this transaction was just edited at this time. If I want to go to it, I can go directly to that transaction by clicking on it. And you can see how fast it loads. Also, you have the plus signs, what we had before. You can add different transactions through here. That's the same. You have the configuration menu, which we'll talk about more in detail, but this is where all your settings are. You have the sync button to QuickBooks. If it's green, that means it went around successfully. If it's red, that means there was an issue. You can print, and you also have notifications that are here, and you have your help. So you have your user guides, tutorials, how-to guides, etc. And you have your user settings here, which you can see any tasks that you have, user settings, change your password, and sign out. So let's take a quick look at the notification. So I'm going to just find a purchase order here, and I'm going to assign it to myself. So it's going to come down here, find a purchase order, and then here I can assign it to myself. Hit save and close. And then I'll just refresh the screen. So what happens is I'll get notified that there is something for me to do. So up here, you get the little icon that shows the notification, and you can see that a PO was assigned to you. If I click in all notifications, I can see that was assigned to me. If I want to create a task, I can create a task by hitting create task, purchase order. If I wanted to assign it to someone else, I can, so they'll get notified. And then you'll keep your task there until you're completed, and you can just mark this completed. I'm going to hop back over to the operations side here. We have the dashboard, similar to what they had before. They just changed the colors a little bit. If I hit settings here, I can say what I want to see on the dashboard just by clicking this here, and it adds it to the menu. I can just open it up. Similar to before, I can hit display and it shows me a report, and I can just click into that transaction if I wanted to see it. Okay, next is the calendar. The calendar, similar. You'll still see the calendar options for a specific date. You can change the settings here. If I want to add invoices, I can add invoices. I can add tickets, and it updates sheet. Okay, so the next module is inventory. They moved that up. So now inventory, which is their strength, is the next or the first transaction that you could do. This houses your items, your adjustments, transfers, serial numbers, lots, and they've added the bins here. So after that, we'll hop over to uh, sales, because in sales they've added payments. Payments is if you have SOS Pay, you can get access to it there, or you can add payments for your transactions here, and that will get synced over to QuickBooks. So this feature has been added to this side. Okay, so let's hop over to the configurations. So up here where it says Tools and Settings, I'll click on Configuration. And they just made it so there's a logical separation. Everything is separated by a logical format. For example, under List, you can find similar things like location, price tier, sales reps, and so forth. So everything is in a logical area, and everything is searchable. So if I'm looking for a specific uh, setting, I can come in here and put in search for it. Maybe it's next sales order number or a next list. So I have locations, and then I just add my locations. So while I'm in here, they did add a new feature. It's called inactivity timeout. So when I click that, I did the search. It makes it that this is what the focus is here. So basically what you could do now is you can turn this on and you could put different intervals on here. So if you want your users to log out every 15 minutes or an hour or 8 hours, you can set that on here. So that's something that's been new added. You'll also see your users here. So you can add and remove users very easily. And they also cleaned up the permissions a little bit too. So things flow in a logical order and under each of the modules. So it makes it a lot easier to add permissions versus hunting and pecking is what you did before. So let's exit out of here and we'll go into sales and look at sales orders. So we still have the columns. Things have been moved around a little bit. So if you want to do batch actions, you can still do that. You can select one or two or select all, and you come under the batch actions and you can either print, email, close, etc., things that you did before. You can download. So you have options to download a list. You can also come over here and you can filter. Your filter's over here now. So if I filter, I can say I only want sales orders for a certain date range, or I could do a quick selector. I could say today, And these options are the same, where you can see archives only, the status, a specific customer, or if it's assigned to someone. The other thing they've done is added the ability to customize the columns a lot easier. So if I come over, click columns, now all I have to do is drag and drop here, and it automatically adds them to the list here. So that's a lot easier than they had before. So filter, I can come here and put, again, a date filter, all dates, apply, and I can see all my transactions here. So that's a lot easier. Let's take a look at a sales order. So I'm going to open up this sales order here. And you can now see that the screen is a little bit cleaner. You have a date here. You can also put now, which puts in the most recent date. Another thing that you notice on the line item is the availability. Before, when you either entered a new transaction or an existing one, you weren't able to easily see the availability, especially after you've already entered a line. Now it's a separate column, so you always can see what's available at the location that you specify. You also see at the bottom, any custom fields have all been located down at the bottom. So before they were kind of sporadic around bottom of the screen. Now there's a certain area just for custom fields, so it looks a lot neater. They've also made the totals page a lot cleaner as well. So now you can see how that looks. So I'm going to hit save and close, and I'm going to just walk you through creating a new order and show you a couple things. So I got an error, so I'm going to just I cleared that out. So I'm going to just pull up a certain purchase or sales order. I'm just going to click into it. Okay, so now that I'm here, okay, I want to show you a couple of things here. So one is the list price. So before you can only do one list price on a transaction. Now you can do, each line could have its own list price. So whatever list price that you have here, let's say if I change it to wholesale, then anything that I enter from that point forward would be the wholesale price. If I then want to add something with a quantity pricing, I would change that, and then anything underneath that would also have that. But if, just like before, if you want every line to have the one price tier, you just hit apply. Okay, so that's new. The other big thing here is attachments. You can now add attachments to individual transactions. So you can either drag and drop or click add attachments. And I can just go search on my desktop, let's say, and I want to add something to the document, and I can add a description. What? Okay, document. The document numbers have to be unique. Okay, let's add this here. And now you see there's a paperclip and it has the number of documents there. So it lets you know that there is a document there. Okay, so I'm going to hit save and close here. And let's say I want to ship this. I'm going to just hit the down arrow here and hit shipment, create shipment. And a few things have changed here as well. So when I do lot tracking now, before it was all combined. So now when I select obviously my bin and my lots, now I can see the lots separated. I can just select my lot here. And same thing with the serial tracking. If I go to serial tracking and I have 7 in this particular location, when I select this arrow icon here, it shows me my available serial numbers. So here I can just click and add my serial numbers. So it makes the implementation of serial numbers a lot easier. Okay. Now, if I put in my ship method, let's say I add a shipping cost or a tracking number, shipping 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can also put my ship by date, my ship method, and tracking number. All this information now gets carried over to the invoice. So if I hit save and close, and if I go to my shipments, okay, let's say this item has been shipped. I then create an invoice. Now I can see the information about the ship date, the shipping number, and the shipping method. That information wasn't there before. Okay, so I'm going to close out of here. Another thing that's very useful is, let's say I create a new sales order, and I'm going to create a new customer, and I hit add new customer. So before, when you created a new customer, so I would say Jane Doe, all you could do is put in the name. Now you can add more customer details. So if I hit this, it takes me into the full screen. So I can add phone number, contact, address, the price tier, sales rep, etc. So everything that I needed to create a customer is now available. And the same thing goes for item. So if I wanted to create a new item, let's say T1 is my new product. If I hit add more item information, now I can create the SKU. So this goes for customers, vendors, and items. So you can always add additional details. I think this is something that was definitely needed. Okay, so now I wanted to show you some changes with reports. I go to reports. So now reports are broken down by module very easily. So let's say I go to sales, I go to master sales report. So they just kind of cleaned up this screen a little bit. You have your filters that are here. And if you want to add a new column, all you have to do is drag and drop it here. Now, once I do this, if you notice at the top, once I add this here, you'll see that it now says save, customize as. So it knows that once I've made a change, I can now customize this report. The other options, as before, you can always email, download, and schedule. If I want to save this as, I can now call it a new name and save it. And you can hit favorite, and it'll be on your list of favorites. If I go back in here, You'll see my new sales report here and my custom report here. So those are some of the changes they made with the reports. They haven't really added any new reports, uh, but just cleaned the ones that they have up a little bit. So I think I've highlighted the majority of the things that have been added. There may be some small things that I didn't cover, but if you have any questions on any other functionality that you may or may not have seen, feel free to reach out to me. Um, I'd be happy to help you out. And I think now that they've made this change, it'll be easier to add new features and functionality to it. So please, if you enjoy this video, please leave any comments, like and subscribe to my channel if you want to get more information about SOS Inventory or any other application that we deal with. I appreciate you taking time with me today. Thank you.